Okay, folks, turn 68. Honestly, some stuff been going on in my life, and it's been a couple of days since I looked at this. I had to get a big extension. I don't recall. I may have staled last turn, or I may have had my turn partially finished, more like. But in any case, I think that's true. I think I had my turn partially finished, but not really. In any case, lots of skirmishing back and forth. We had a High Priestess there, Anor Londo attacking Statists with some ghouls, Man bouncing a monk off Anor Londo, which is weird. But in any case, what we've done here is we're setting up for our first mass teleport strike, because we've got a Wraith Lord Mausoleum here in Brightwoods, and we've got a Worm Mage up here in Cormark, both of which are, I think, prime targets to be teleported on. So down here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Where's the other guy? There's a couple more. 13, 14, 15, 16. And he's casting Imprint Souls. So, yeah, I've got 16 Astral Mages teleporting to one of those two locations. Over here, I've got a few teleporting in to try and enslave mind him, and I'm also sending Quellen. Quellen is geared as a pretty potent thug, to be honest. He's going to etherealize himself, give himself luck, twist fate. He has quickness, he has a high defense score, and a Moonblade, which is mostly good against magical beings, but also does a lot of damage just regularly. I mean, it's very similar to a Great Sword of Sharpness, just without the armor-piercing quality. And he's quickened, of course. So he's wearing a crystal coin so he can teleport, and so his script is that he's gonna hop in Twist Fate, Body Ethereal, Luck, and then spam Control the Dead. He actually probably doesn't need to do this, but in case there are in case the Wraith Lord starts casting Horde of Skeletons at us, the Control the Dead should be able to hit some of the Long Dead that are incoming and turn them so that they start fighting each other and confuse the issue. Plus, if the Long Dead reach him, Quellen will be able to kill Long Dead very efficiently, since, as I said, he's ethereal, and he also has 25 protection. So, we're hoping to enslave him. We're also hoping to enslave this Worm Mage. We've got more mages hitting him. All of these mages are hitting, well, okay, so these guys are hitting the Wraith Lord. These guys are all hitting the Worm Mage, and they're just going in just full-on balls deep. They do need somebody to cast Light of the Northern Star, which is Gabrusius, so he needs some Astral Pearls. Everyone else, so Light of the Northern Star, Light of the Northern Star, that makes everyone on the battlefield more powerful in Astral Magic, which will enable them to cast Enslave Mind. And then everybody's just freaking casting personal luck on themselves to give themselves that 75% miss chance, and then just spamming the hell out of Enslave Mind. These guys aren't wearing magic resistance increasing gear, so we should be able to enslave their minds pretty effectively. This guy's MR 18, which means it won't take all that many casts of Enslave Mind to punch through. This guy, similarly. So, yeah, overall, I think this should be fine. Limerick's just going to hop right down there. I've got a whole bunch of troops and stuff sitting around scattered. I'm not really doing much with them. I am sending my Ether Lords underwater. So my Ether Lords are pushing underwater with their gangs, their posses, and they should be able to do some pretty serious damage. What with being ethereal and having high protection, Ether Warriors are very hard to kill. And they have decent attack and defense skill, plus they're fully amphibious, so they get no penalty underwater. They should be able to cleave through most of these guys. Like, we've got some Shark Tribe down here. They should be able to cleave through Shark Tribe in reasonable numbers. Over here, these guys, I think, don't have a commander. They will have a commander as soon as this unit moves up to them, which is actually a pretty good reason why I might want to throw a Mind Hunter 2 into that province. I don't think I have another Astral Booster sitting around, and that's a good reason why I should forge another Starshine Skullcap or 2. You can give that up, because I don't need you to have it right now. You can give it to him so he can save a couple of gems. Yeah, I know I have tons and tons of Astral Gems, but still, there's no reason not to save them when I can. You can research. You can give that to Stark, and Stark can forge another Bloodstone. And yeah. What else, what else, what else? Let's get one more person forging another Starshine Skullcap for me. There we go. So I want plenty of Astral Boosters floating around. I am also about to hit Thaumaturgy level 9, which will give me Master Enslave. And after that, I'll be rushing down Alteration to get down to Wish, which will take level 9 Astral. Now, fortunately, I'm really close to that. Bugsy Seagull is level 7, wearing his Ring of Sorcery. And I can also put a hat and a crystal coin on him, which will make him Astral 9. At that point, he can cast Wish with no trouble. So, should be good. Starting to take a little bit of land back from Statists, showing them that my passivity has been voluntary as opposed to forced. And the goal here, of course, is to steal a couple of their immortals, and being able to casually enslave other people's immortals is one of the things that makes people wary about using immortals on you, which is, of course, my goal. I want him to think, oh shit, I can't really send my immortals against this guy because he will just steal them, and then he will have them and be able to use them against me. So, that's the objective. I think we're going to accomplish it. Not moving a whole lot of troops around right now, but should be a good time. Oh, and we've also got a bunch of champion skulls that I've given to most of my Hollow Knights. Not poor old Robodan. Robodan is kind of being left out here. But we'll move him up this way-ish, I guess. Put that back. You don't need that. You'll give yourself a complex. Yeah, you don't really need any. I could give you an eye catcher. That'd be kind of hilarious. For now, actually, just give you a Medallion of Vengeance, why don't we? Yeah, just blow up when you die. Why not? We'll send you out on some kind of a suicide mission. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in turn 69. Giggity. Alright, folks, it's turn 69. We've hit Thaumaturgy level 9. We're good to go, ready to roll, and we launched our massive teleport attack. We also cast Imprint Souls, which gave us 20 Flagellants, 40 Madmen, and 40 Dead. We had a Scout mentally attacked, managed to resist, and we had a few battles. So in Cormark, we attacked a Worm Mage. This one didn't go quite the way I had anticipated, because A, he had a little bit of province defense, and B, I had forgotten that Worm Mages constantly spawn bugs. So, as we watch here, the Enslaved started to go down, but as you can see, the Worm Mage is already spawning large beetles. That guy is, yeah, fighting the bugs. But the enslaved mines are getting distracted. The bugs cannot be enslaved, but the other units can. And they're also resisting pretty hard. In any case, we tried to spam Enslave Mind on the Worm Mage, but didn't manage to do it beforehand. So what happens is, these bugs end up over here fighting these ethereal soulless that we've summoned and etherealized. They can't really kill them, but also the soulless have trouble killing them. So everybody's off script, they're just casting whatever spells come into their head. We've dropped Light of the Northern Star. This Worm Mage is just standing back here spawning bugs and otherwise not doing a whole lot because he's fatigued out. But the bugs keep spawning, so the battle goes on for actually a very long time. Slowly the ethereal undead start winning out over the bugs and begin advancing, which is useful. He's now casting Storm of Thorns at me, so he's getting some projectiles out. We're hitting him with Frozen Heart and stuff. Overall, not very efficient. What happens is, this Worm Mage actually begins to go into melee and gets killed. Now, Worm Mages are special. They are immortals, but more importantly, they have the Swarm body. So when they die, they effectively cast Swarm. They get a whole bunch of bugs. One of them has the soul of the Worm Mage, and if that bug lasts like 4 or 5 rounds, something like that, he respawns. So boom, there we go. That is the Bug Soul Vessel, which is extremely old because it is as old as the Worm Mage is, hilariously, so it has a huge old age penalty. Also, it's feeble-minded. Sort of hilarious. But, in a few rounds, boom, there he is again. He's respawned, he has no afflictions. So, and now we have all these more bugs fighting our undead. One of my dudes cast Blink for some reason and came back here. He's got a Chill Aura and Astral Shield and damage resistance, so because he's cast Liquid Body on himself and he's ethereal, so he's in no danger of being killed by these bugs. But he's just kind of sitting back here, like, chilling, distracting everybody. He runs away. The undead swarm in again. We kill this guy a couple of times. We do eventually win this battle, but we don't manage to enslave him. So he does manage to escape, and he will respawn in Statistician territory. That said, it was a good hit. It was a good attempt. So, yeah, we're just going to quit there. He dies, but he does manage to escape. And one of our Soul Twisters retreated. Then in Bright Woods, we teleported in, and this one was a lot more successful. We've got all our teleporters back over there. The Wraith Lord is standing out front. He has a whole bunch of battle wounds, but he is still just a regular Wraith Lord. Magic resistance 17. And boom, he's enslaved. All of them enslaved in a single round. Not a problem. Now, you may notice, so we captured the Wraith Lord. It says here that we had some retreaters. That is because Anor Londo attacked in Bright Woods in an effort to reclaim the province, which is fair. This was originally their province. They brought actually quite a considerable force. A whole bunch of clerics, which are heir to Holy One and can cast their sacred spell. They brought a Lord Arcane, and they brought a Lord Hierophant. So the Lord Hierophant is heir 3, priest 3, and a healer. And the Lord Arcane is heir 3, fire 3, astral 1, and not a healer. And they also have a bunch of Silver Knights, which are their sacred. Silver Knights are pretty solid. Giants, high protection, high defense skill, good, high damage, magical attack. Very solid units. And they also brought a ton of crossbows. They've been pumping out a lot of crossbows. You would think that this would be terrible for me, but it turned out it wasn't. Why? Well, because my Wraith Lord was out front, and my mages are actually quite tough. So the arrows start coming in, but my mages have successfully made themselves ethereal just in time. So the crossbow bolts are not doing a whole lot, and in the process of all this happening, they've cast Enslave Mind a bunch of times. And in Enslaving Mind, they are enslaving the minds of the Silver Knights, which only have magic resistance 13. So now all the enemy spells are blasting down on their own Silver Knights. This Wraith Lord, which is just a unit right now, has charged into melee combat, and the arrows are now getting distracted into Undead, being summoned by Quellen. They are still firing some crossbow bolts into my mages, but my mages are okay. They have high hit points, and they're ethereal, and they're lucky. So some of them are routing, 1 or 2 of them are routing and running away, but these Silver Knights are now actually routing or on my side. Pretty much all of them. I think those ones are on my side up there, fighting these phantasmal warriors they've been summoning, and these ones are all running away. So the enemy army actually routs at this point. Some of these Silver Knights have been enslaved by me, and are now, like this guy I think is now back here attacking the enemy mages. So the enemy army collapses and runs. My mages are still fine, and in the process of doing that, we actually killed 2 clerics and a Lord Arcane. That's painful. Lords Arcane are kind of hard to come by. And this one in particular was quite powerful, actually. So he's dead. 2 clerics are dead. We also killed 33 crossbows, 15 Silver Knights, and we walked away with 3 Silver Knights of our own. Pretty hilarious. Like I said, 2 Soul Twisters retreated, but they're fine. Arcane Nexus absorbed a whole bunch of Astral Gems. We took Walnut Woods, and Lake Fortune. Our Ether Lord and Ether Warriors went underwater. And they just blitzkrieged a tiny, tiny amount of province defense. And boom. Instant disintegration. Great. So, also we found some gold in Alluvia. So now, we've got this Wraith Lord. We're going to take him back and cast, and give him his mind back so he becomes a commander again and we can use him. We've also got these 3 Silver Knights, which is pretty cool. And what I've done, actually, is I've contacted Statists because, looking at the map, Statists is no longer in a position of unchallenged supremacy. They're still big, they're still bad, they're still dangerous, but they're not in an unchallenged supreme position anymore. Lothric is just as big as Statists is, or comparable. And Lothric, of course, also has Well of Misery, which is more powerful than either Mother Oak or Maelstrom. I would say it's pretty comparable, generally speaking. Anor Londo has the Eyes of God, which I have the Arcane Nexus, which is by far the most powerful of these. In fact, Arcane Nexus, in terms of the number of gems it's been giving me, is as good as all 3 of these put together. So, that's fantastic. I'm down to 23 Astral Pearls right now because I've made a truce with Statists. Basically, I've been like, alright, I'm going to take my provinces back, we'll keep kind of raiding each other a little bit, but we won't really fight. Because I want Statists to be fighting Lothric with everything. I want Statists to be really, really focused on fighting Lothric and beating Lothric up, because I want Lothric and Statists to grind out against each other while I take this opportunity to absorb Anor Londo, which I think I can do. Troop-wise, I don't have a ton of troops, but I now have Master Enslave, which he doesn't seem to have much by way of countermeasures to active, and in particular, Bugsy Siegel can hop onto the battlefield and just straight cast Master Enslave. He can drop Master Enslave round 1 if he wants. So it's entirely viable for me to drop in Bugsy Siegel and a few Astral Mages and cast Master Enslave Vortex of Returning. So it'll be Master Enslave takes 325% cast time, Vortex of Returning is only 200%. So I would need to cast 1 or 2 spells before Vortex of Returning, but any one of my S4 guys can just cast Vortex of Returning. So what I would want to do is I'd want to work out the spells that let me cast Vortex of Returning immediately after Master Enslave goes off. Bugsy Seagull can just, like I said, just straight up cast Master Enslave, no prep time, nothing. He can just fucking do it. I can forge a Banner of the North Star, which is the Banner of the Northern Star requires Astral 4 and casts Light of the Northern Star right at the start of the battle, which is hilariously useful for me. So I can do that, then we hop in, Bugsy Seagull is Astral 9, and all of my other mages are Astraled up a level. We can spam out some Enslave, Vortex of Returning, hop back to the capital with a whole bunch of Lothric's units, and there's nothing he can do about it. And we can actually, since we have effectively unlimited Astral Pearl income, like 70 a turn, we can then teleport back in and do it again and just continually steal his armies, until all of his units are all of my units. Or I can go into Storm of Fort and I can cast Master Enslave like 3 times with penetration boosters. For example, I can boost somebody up to +4 penetration pretty easily, or +5, which means that Master Enslave is rolling, its magic resistance negates easily, but so instead of rolling against 8, it's rolling against 13, which is a 50-50 chance to take Silver Knights. And yeah, I can just do that. Now, there are countermeasures, obviously, and I can't doomstack too hard, but yeah, this is something that I can do. My Hollow Knights are, of course, immortal, and I've gotten my Hollow Knights leveled up pretty well. Quellen is at 62 experience. We've got another one over somewhere that's in the 60s. Simaru is at 68 and is wearing a Champion's Skull. Padro is at 34, so he has a little ways to go before he levels up, but he's also got a Champion's Skull. So I think I can roll what's left of Anor Londo pretty quickly, absorb these provinces, and their capital, which has the Kiln of the First Flame, the Tombs of the Giants, and Anor Londo itself, which doesn't give me anything. But these two do. Death Gems, Fire Gems, and 1 Pearl. I think I can absorb these pretty quickly and probably eat some of this as well. Part of what's inspiring me to do this is the fact that Man appears to be attacking Anor Londo, and Anor Londo is just in a really bad way. Statists has really beat them up, and I want to eat what I can before they're all gone. The other person that it might be useful to eat is Drangleic. Drangleic is down here. They're also in a bad way. Statists is in their territory in a major way. They're besieging a fort here. They've taken a bunch of provinces. My scout needs to kind of sneak in to see what's going on. That's Drangleic right there, which has the Throne of Want, Aldea's Keep, and Drangleic Castle. So Earth, Astral, Death, and Fire. That would also be valuable, but I think absorbing this will help put me in a better position to deal with the 2 giants, because Lothric and Statists are most definitely the 2 big boys on the playground right now, and I'm not. By virtue of my possession of the Arcane Nexus, I am a strong 3rd right now, but Man is also here. Man also has a lot of territory, probably more territory than me at this point, and a 2nd capital and Garnet Amazons. So he is not an inconsiderable power. And there is, I think at this point, what's strategically best is to kind of clear the board. So I'm moving people around, I'm concentrating mages in my forts, and flying units in my forts that are near Anor Londo, so that I can hit them very quickly. If he moves this army into here to retake this province, which he might do, I'm going to put 6 province defense in it, or 5 province defense, I guess, in it, just because. If he does that, I'm going to teleport mages on top of him and steal his army, which I can absolutely do. Bugsy Seagull is going to move to right there. I'm hoping that he doesn't see this as a jumping off point against him so much as a jumping off point against Man or possibly Statists. And yeah, for Statists has agreed I'm taking these 3 provinces back. We'll be raiding back and forth in these areas. I'm going to take that province right here and then hop these troops away. And that will keep up the appearance that we're fighting, certainly, while not requiring a major commitment of resources from either of us. And that will allow Statists to mainly focus on fighting Lothric. Lothric appears, I would say, to be winning the war so far. In Tapanete, they killed Statists' god. I think it was this turn. Yes, this was it. This was a major battle, and it was a major loss for Statists. So Lothric brought a whole bunch more mages than Statists did, and they also made very good use of their national spell. However, Lothric Knights, I can also Master Enslave these armies, even though they do cast anti-magic, because Lothric Knights only have magic resistance 10, so even after anti-magic, it's still only up to 14. Whites are a lot better. But, so, The army over there has very, very heavy mage backup. This army doesn't. This army has moderate mage backup. It has Nom in it, and it also had Origines, the King of the Mountains, who is SC'd out pretty decently. High magic resistance, high protection, he has some regeneration already, could do with some more. He's lucky. I don't know why he's wearing an acorn necklace. That's really kind of a waste of a slot, in my opinion. But he's not bad. And then they've got a whole bunch of Sacred Serpents in the back. But if we watch this battle, watch what happens. So the crossbows start firing, first of all. Then we start getting this Great Lightning Spear spell. Great Lightning Spear is enormously powerful. Incredibly so. We've got Rigor Mortis, Relief, and Light of the Northern Star active. I believe he has cast... Yes, he's cast Anti-Magic on his army, which is wise. So all of his whites are now up to magic resistance 18. So this army is pretty resistant against Master and Slave, but look at this. Look at the AoE on that fucking spell. It is enormous, and it's doing a lot of damage. Great Eagles have hopped to the back. They've been blessed with ethereality, or they've been etherealized, rather. Also, they have poison resistance, and I think the whole army here, those are just whites. Yeah, he's given poison resistance to his whole army. He actually has poison resistance in his Bless as well, but he's given 10 poison resistance to his whole army with Serpent's Blessing. And the Relief is keeping his troops active. So, the heavy hitters on Statists' side are kind of tied up back here, and they're also being hit by their own Rigor Mortis, which is making it hard for them to do anything. While the Priestesses and Grand Archive Scholars and such are only just now starting to fatigue out. We also have Fields of the Dead active, which is spawning Soulless, which are attacking Statists, which makes it hard for them to do things. So all their stuff is kind of getting stuck back here. And the crossbows are really going to work. In the front line, the superior Lothric line is mulching through the Statistician troops. Nom is going in, but let's be honest, Nom is not actually great at fighting in a melee scrum. He's got good regeneration, he's very damage resistant, and he has Soul Vortex active. But Soul Vortex only matters against living troops, and most of the troops on the field right now are undead. The Lothric Knights are back here shooting their crossbows. So, Nom routes. The Statistician army, in its entirety, HP routes. Origines is running because of HP, because he has morale 30. It's not true infinite morale. It's just morale 30, which means he still does HP route. If you want to stop that, you have to make him Berserk, which was not done. If he was Berserk, he might have been able to win this, actually, because a Berserk Origines with 15% regeneration, 130 hit points, and magic resistance 30 might be able to tank a crossbow barrage and a communion for long enough to rout the enemy army. But that's neither here nor there. In any case, everyone runs, except for the mages who are mostly killed. In fact, I think they're entirely killed. Nom almost makes it off, and then at the very border of the field, he gets paralyzed, past his 23 magic resistance. Paralyzed for 32 rounds, and is killed. Surrounded by skeletons, he's actually regenerating through that. He's doing okay so far. Like, the skeletons are not quite able to take him down because he regenerates so quickly. But here comes the Lothric Knights with their armor-piercing crossbows. And once they get in range and start volleying, Nom's HP starts dropping quick. And he's gone. So, Lothric is winning the battle against Statists. This battle in particular is one big reason why I am willing to pull out, because I think Lothric is going to win this, and I need to take some territory for cheap in order to remain at even moderately competitive with Lothric. In terms of thrones, Statist still has 5. Drangleic has 1. Lothric has 1, has the Golden Throne. I still don't have any thrones in my territory except for this, except for the inner throne there. In order to get thrones, I need to move in this direction, really. I need to move towards them. Not sure that I'm going to be able to do that. So what I'm trying to do is get up to the point where I can cast Wish, reclaim my territory underwater, take over Anor Londo, solidify my position here, and then either move in on the corpse of Statist as it struggles against Lothric. That throne might be the Throne of Death, might be a very, very good target. And or attack Man. Because if I can do a lot of damage to Man, which I can, because Man does not have good defenses against my against my remote attacks, if I can do a bunch of damage to man quickly, then I might be able to make some real progress. You can see here, he's got the Etten King. He's got his Daughters of Avalon, Mothers of Avalon. There's no Astral Mages here. And this is a pretty significant army. This is where his god is. So, the fact that he has no Astral Mages here indicates to me that he probably doesn't have Astral Mages. Because, like I said, this is a pretty significant commitment. If he had Astral Mages, you'd think he might have them here. Also, he's given Nog the Etten King basic thug gear, which is hilarious, if not ideal. And he's also casting Weapons of Sharpness on him. So who's casting Weapons of Sharpness? Oh, duh. Let's Have Some Fun is casting Weapons of Sharpness. Okay, so he just rolled over this fort. There was nothing inside it. Not a problem. In any case, that's my strategy right now. I know it seems a little bit counterintuitive to be backing out of the war with Statists when Statists seems to be losing, but I really want him to focus on dealing some bloody noses to Lothric. In pursuit of this, I think sometime in the next couple turns, I may dispel Well of Misery. I might do that. But if I do that, that will be pretty much a declaration of war by Lothric, unless I lie about it, which I don't really want to do because I don't like lying even in games. So, we're forging items that will help us in our war against Anor Londo, and in pursuit of this, we are also imbuing 3 more Soul Warriors, forging 3 Frost Brands, and forging 3 Vine Shields. So with that basic kit, my Soul Warriors will be able to hop up here, take provinces, rapidly secure territory, deprive Anor Londo of resources, and prepare for the hurricane of flying bugs to descend on the forts, break the walls, and let my soul enslavers, my enslaved mind casters, etc., in to steal all of his units and make them my units. So that's the plan. I'll see y'all in turn 70. We'll see how it works out. Okay, folks, it's turn 70. Lots of messages, most of which are not terribly important. We imbued a whole bunch of more Soul Warriors. We took back these provinces from Statists. We've made a deal with Statists. We have made a deal with the devil, as it were. And that deal is that, Robior can take these guys, by the way. That deal is that basically we're going to keep skirmishing, but not really fight as such much. And I'm going to go and beat up, Anor Londo. So, I've gotten these Soul Warriors. Regek is going to go over there to take that province. Dragol is going to go over there to take that province. Yulok is currently not moving. And I'm not sure where I'm going to send him. I think I'll just keep him in reserve for right now. Pop him on over here. What I want to do is I want to gear them with shock resistance and a little bit more kit before I send them against Anor Londo. Because Anor Londo's Sacreds, of course, the Silver Knights and the Black Knights, have magical weapons. So they can cut through ethereality, which is one of the main defenses that astral magic gives you. So by wearing the armor of knights and a helmet and having a ring of tamed lightning, I'll kind of block up some of the other possibilities. Which reminds me, I should actually forge another armor of knights real quick. And I have another air mage around somewhere. I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, Foan. Yeah, forge a Storm Spool, because Storm Spool does overcharge back at the enemy. So forge that. Yeah, that'll be fine. And I think I have some hammers? Nope, I do not have any hammers. Okay, great. Gathering up troops, we're teleporting a whole bunch more of these guys over here to try and enslave this worm mage. The patch just dropped. And one of the most interesting things in this patch, which of course we'll have talked about in detail, but immortals are no longer immortal. Immortals can be killed by Soul Slay. So astral nations are now very, very dangerous to raid with immortals because they can kill your immortals for good, as well as enslave minding them. Soul Slay is easier to do. So, but I am still attempting to enslave this worm mage. I'm dropping in with all those guys, plus Quellen, who is geared as an anti-magic thug, which I don't really need right now, but he has this Moonblade, which lets him hit very, very hard. He's got Boots of Quickness, he's wearing a Starshine Skullcap so he can teleport, and an Armor of Knights, so his total protection is 26, only 18 on the head, unfortunately. And he'll, in another about 37 experience, he will promote. Now, my closest guy to promoting is Simaru over here, and he just got a fantastic ability. He got Heroic Toughness, so his hit points are now almost 30, and that will go up as he is in the Hall of Fame. And he is at 76 experience, so a few more battles, and he'll be leveled up to his maximum potential of Astral 3, Death 3, and he'll be pretty crazy. It'll be pretty sweet. I should put some armor on him as well, so he's going to move back there. So I really should also forge another set of armor. Why don't you forge me some more armor of knights? And you could forge me some more armor of knights, I think. I would like to actually get mirror armor, but why are you not teleporting? It's because I selected you. If you select somebody, their teleport order drops. Okay, so we're doing that. So we're going to go take out Anor Londo. Anor Londo does have a Queen of Storms, Air Elementals, and they have Antrax, the King of Banefires. So they're not doing terribly. They also have the Eyes of God, so they can see my troops moving around. If we look at the Eyes of God. So, inside the god's own dominion, troop movements can be seen in great detail, and enemy illusions and phantasms are dispelled on the battlefield. So there's no point in using illusion magic, mostly air magic, against someone with the Eyes of God up. Dominion can be seen in great detail, and so can discovered magic sites. Patrolling units will find it much easier to detect enemy scouts and quell unrest. Records can be accessed, and everyone on the Hall of Fame can be inspected. I would like to knock this down. I'm not going to do it this turn, because I don't have many Astral Pearls. But I will next turn, because I'll get the Arcane Nexus again. The Arcane Nexus actually underperformed compared to what it has historically this turn. It only absorbed 36 pearls worth of income, so it was only the equivalent of the next two best. Well, it actually was slightly less than the next two best, because the Well of Misery gives you 21 gems, and Maelstrom gives you 23, 24, and I think that's times 6, about 30 gems per turn. So, you know, it was only a little bit better than Maelstrom. I should also knock one of those down, but I'm not going to do it right now. I'm moving my Ether Warriors to close in for the fight against Anor Londo. They also are magical beings that rely partially on being naturally ethereal, so once again, the Silver Knights will be good against them, but I have Master Enslave. I've been doing a lot of calculations about how I can best cast Master Enslave. The best thing I'm going to be able to do, I think, is cast it about 3 times right near the start of the battle. If I drop Bugsy Siegel in, I also need to forge a Banner of the North Star. That reminds me, so I need to get you, sir, to forge a Banner of the Northern Star, which will cost me 25 pearls. So Bugsy, who's carrying pearls? I don't have enough pearls. That's a very odd thing. I'm divine naming this Wraith Lord, which I don't actually need to do right now. So you just research. You can forge a Banner of the Northern Star. So that casts Light of the Northern Star right at the start of the battle. So I give that to somebody. I have the Banner of the Northern Star, so all of my Astral Mages have Astral level +1 when they hop into battle. I have guys like this leading the Communion, so they start off at Astral 6. If I have 8 Communion Slaves, they will then be Astral 9. That's enough to cast Master Enslave at 400 fatigue. Now, in order to kind of keep the damage down, I need to make sure that my Communion Slaves aren't taking a ton of fatigue. I think I've been able to finagle it so that I'm only going to be getting, I think it's 66 fatigue per slave per cast, which means I can afford to cast it 3 times in the Communion and not actually kill my own Communion Slaves. So, the goal will be to hop in with Bugsy Siegel and a Communion of 12 Soul Twisters, as many of the S4s as I can. One of the Soul Twister people will be carrying the Banner of the North Star, and I would like to have them, as many as possible, having Slave and Crystal Matrixes. I've started to forge. I've forged 3 Crystal Matrixes. I need several more. So you actually need to forge. I need Slave Matrixes is what I need right now. You need to forge a Slave Matrix. You can forge a Slave Matrix. You can research. And then you can forge those Armors of Knights that I was looking. What do you mean I don't have enough Earth Gems? Oh, that's right. Slave Matrixes cost Earth Gems. Okay, well that'll be fine. We'll get those we'll get those first. The Slave Matrices are important. If I have 8 Slave Matrices and 3 Communion Matrices, then I can hop in and have that Communion active round 0. That will enable me to cast Master and start casting Master and Slave round 1. It takes about a round and a half to go off. So then I will have a 4th mage who is outside the Communion and has Astral 4. I need to get an Astral 4 random. He will be, as I said, outside the Communion, and he will be ready to cast Vortex of Returning. I need to go into this kind of scripting, I believe. Yeah, Vortex of Returning. It just requires Astral 4 and 3 Astral Pearls. So, You cast one spell before it, and then you cast Vortex of Returning, so Personal Luck, Body Ethereal, something, Vortex of Returning, and what'll happen is all 3 of the Master and Slaves, or all 4 actually, will go off simultaneously, enslaving a huge fraction of the enemy army, and then Vortex of Returning will activate and carry all of your troops, plus all the troops you just enslaved, back home. It costs a ton of pearls to do that. Casting Master and Slave 4 times is over 30 Astral Pearls, but if you can hit a big stack like, say, this, what that effectively does is it turns approximately 50 pearls, the Master and Slaves plus the Vortex of Returning, into a free army. Like, if I hit this army with this tactic, in a couple of rounds, I would have probably about half these units, if not more. Especially if I'm casting with penetration boosters, because normally Master and Slave is a roll of 8 versus the target's magic resistance. But I can, of course, boost that with my Rune Smashers and my Eyes of the Void or Spell Pendants, Spell Focuses, to get at least +3 penetration, which makes it 11 versus MR, which is almost 50-50, like 40% success chance on normal humans. And that, yeah, or actually I think it's 50, but I think it's straight even at that point if it's 11. Less against Silver Knights. Silver Knights have a higher magic resistance than that, but that would enable me to just wholesale steal like half of an army, if not somewhat more, and then teleport back home with it. Or, alternatively, just fight the battle at that point, with all his own troops turning against him. That could very easily result in the enemy HP routing in short order, and me winning the field and having significantly more troops than I started off with. Or, of course, the cheaper, easier, lower level way to do that, or something similar, is to teleport all of my Astral Mages into one engagement, and have them all just spam the hell out of Enslaved Mind, which, if I have the Banner of the North Star active at the start, they will all be able to do outside of a communion, which is sort of hilarious. There's my hammers. I forgot I had them on these guys who were forging vine shields for my soul bros. So, yeah, have a hammer. And you can have a hammer. And you can have a hammer. Okay, great. And that gives me 5 Earth Gems, and now I can afford to forge an Armor of Knights. So, that's the plan. Still raiding Statists lightly, but basically I'm letting Statists and Lothric, I'm over here like, let's you and him fight. You two just fight your way on. There weren't any real impressive battles here. A High Priestess killed a Taskmaster. I wanted to see if my surmise about the Taskmasters was correct. No, he hasn't been empowered in blood. He's just out here. He's just out here by his lonesome. That's interesting. Anor Londo attacked Statists and bounced with a bunch of ghouls. In Goodwater, I conquered that. Rame, I lost that to a Worm Mage. Batimor, I conquered that. So I'm teleporting onto that Worm Mage in an effort to enslave him. That's the same Worm Mage I failed to kill last time, I think. And, yeah, this is the plan. I'm just going to turn on Anor Londo. I have a whole bunch of flyers, so that gives me a whole bunch of siege strength, and I should be able to bust up his forts pretty quick. And so my goal is definitely going to be just jump on him, bust up his forts, have a few fights where I get to enslave a ton of his troops and turn them against him, and take his capital as quickly as possible, and get that the gem income from it, including especially the death. My death income is back up because I've taken Narun Sea, but it's still not great, especially not compared to the actual major death power in the game, which is Lothric, with his Well of Misery active. And yeah, I think if I can manage to take Anor Londo and take all these provinces, plus hopefully some of this, then I'll be in a very strong position. My next target after that, either I will return to open warfare against Statists if I think there's a good chance of that succeeding, or I will turn on Man. Man is also a dangerous player here. He's got the Throne of the Moon, he's got this throne up here, which is, I think, the throne of the Silver Throne. That's right, so he's got the Silver Throne. In terms of thrones claimed, those are the two he's got. I've still only got one. Yeah, it's gonna be, this game is gonna go on for a while, and to be honest, I may flag before the end, because it's already turned 70, and we are nowhere close to someone winning. I'm trying to remember where. Game settings. Oh, I forget where I can see the, when the apocalypse is coming. shoot, I forget what turn the Cataclysm is. But we have a Cataclysm. It'll happen. I'm going to hit Alteration level 8 pretty soon in 2 turns here. And that will activate Will of the Fates, so I can give all of my troops luck, which will be hilarious. It will also give me Time Stop, which I can actually have Bugsy Siegel hop in, cast Time Stop, cast Master and Slave, and then just leave, which would be sort of hilarious. There's also Arcane Domination, which is Master and Slave, but it only works on magical beings. Other than that, it's exactly the same. It's a little bit cheaper, because its fatigue costs 700 and costs 7 pearls instead of 8. But Master and Slave is literally the same thing, just costs slightly more, and instead of only affecting magic beings, it doesn't affect mindless beings. I think that's the difference, because I believe Arcane Domination does affect mindless. Yeah, it does. So if you have mindless magic beings like elementals on the field, Arcane Domination will hit them, whereas Master and Slave will not. But yeah, I think I definitely have the tools to take out Anor Londo quickly if I play my cards right. Of course, I can always fuck it up. I mean, I've fucked up better things than that plenty of times, believe you me. So we'll see how it actually goes. I do have plenty of gold left still. I don't really care about forest shamans and such right now. I'm still recruiting mountain shamans, and I need to recruit more flybugs. Down here, I could probably do with some tramplers as well, actually. Great stags wouldn't be too shabby. Let's recruit a few great stags to go in ahead, especially with Will of the Fates on, and maybe some prot buffs, like Army of Lead. They'll be able to do some good work. I do have a couple of Army of Lead casters around. Arnold can cast Army of Lead with Summon Earth Power, and there's a guy down here who can cast Army of Lead. Dan so far. I can give 2 boosters to anybody, to any of my dudes here, and have them cast Army of Lead. I just need a few more Bloodstones, which I can get as soon as I stop spending all my Earth Gems forging Slave Matrices, which will happen in a couple turns. So, I've cancelled my non-aggression pact with Anor Londo, I should mention. That was still in effect from way back at the beginning of the game. So we're on a 3-turn countdown, so this is turn 70, turn 71, turn 73, I can issue attack orders, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to Alpha Strike him pretty effectively. Before then, I hope to knock down the Eyes of God, so that he can't patrol my scouts out quite as efficiently, and we'll see how we go. So, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in turn 71.